This isn't just another headline, it's a game changer. You stopped because you felt it, that instinct telling you something big is happening. And you're right. Oleksandr Usyk, an undefeated boxing legend, is about to shake up the fight world in a way no one expected. Fresh off a monumental 2024, where he dismantled Tyson Fury not once but twice, Usyk is standing at the peak of boxing greatness. His undefeated record, 23 wins, 14 knockouts, has solidified him as one of the sport's most dominant forces. He's the kind of fighter who doesn't just win. He leaves an impact, a legacy carved into the very foundation of combat sports. But here's where things take an unexpected turn. Usyk, the man who conquered the boxing ring, now has his sights set on something no one could have predicted: MMA. Yes, the squared circle may not be enough anymore. His team has just dropped a bombshell. They're calling out Jake Paul for an MMA fight. And if that wasn't shocking enough, Usyk is also open to stepping into the cage against none other than Alex Pereira. Imagine it, Usyk, a master of boxing's sweet science, trading punches, elbows, and possibly takedowns inside the unforgiving walls of an MMA cage. This isn't just about competition anymore. This is about legacy, money, and a fight that could change everything. Sergey Lepan, Usyk's trainer, confirmed what no one expected. Speaking to OLBG, he made it clear Usyk isn't just interested in defending his boxing throne. He wants new challenges, new conquests. Lepan didn't hold back. Usyk has always cared only about fighting the best and creating a lasting legacy in the great sport of boxing. But in the future, as he further solidifies his place as one of the true great fighters, we'll see what other opportunities open up for him. It might be great to step into the cage with Jake Paul under MMA rules. It would be interesting if there is money to be made from it. That's right. Jake Paul, the YouTuber turned boxer who has been making waves in the fight world, could find himself locked in an MMA fight with one of the greatest boxers of our time. It's a matchup no one saw coming, but it makes perfect sense. Paul, despite his controversial rise, has proven he's no joke in boxing. He's gone toe-to-toe with seasoned fighters, shocking critics every step of the way. But here's the catch: while Jake Paul has dominated headlines in boxing, he has yet to step into an MMA cage. A fight against Usyk under MMA rules? That's something entirely different. And then there's Alex Pereira, a former UFC light heavyweight champion and one of the most dangerous strikers in the world. Pereira has already called out Usyk for a boxing match, but now Usyk might be willing to flip the script. Instead of fighting Pereira in a boxing ring, what if he meets him inside a cage? Lepan left the door wide open, even hinting at the possibility of Dana White, UFC's mastermind, getting involved. Also, we never say never about fighting the dangerous Alex Pereira, possibly partnered with Dana White. Dana's move to boxing could open the door for more fights between boxers and current UFC stars. Dana is a capable guy, and with Turkey's abilities, they would create a very interesting project. It will bring attention to our great sport, expand the fan base, attract new investment, and possibly increase the purses of the athletes. This could be bigger than just one fight. Usyk vs. Paul. Usyk vs. Pereira. Boxers stepping into MMA. The crossover world of combat sports is on the verge of something massive. Jake Paul, fresh off his fight against 58-year-old Mike Tyson, might have thought he was taking on the biggest names possible, but Usyk is a different beast. Paul has faced ex-MMA fighters in boxing, but now the roles could be reversed. Would Jake Paul survive against Usyk in a world where takedowns, leg kicks, and ground fighting come into play? And what about Alex Pereira? He recently lost his UFC light heavyweight title to Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 313, but his striking remains one of the most lethal weapons in combat sports. If Usyk enters MMA, Pereira could be the biggest test he's ever faced outside of boxing. The fight world is at a turning point. This isn't just about wins and losses anymore. This is about legacy, power, and the ultimate test of skill. What happens next? That's the real question. Will Jake Paul step up and fight Usyk under MMA rules? Will Alex Pereira trade in his UFC gloves for a chance to box Usyk, or will Usyk take on the challenge of MMA himself? One thing is clear, Oleksandr Usyk is not done making history. And whatever happens next, you won't want to miss it. The stakes have never been higher. You've seen fighters rise and fall, champions come and go, but what we're witnessing now is something different, a moment that could redefine the future of combat sports. If you thought the idea of Usyk stepping into MMA was just talk, think again. Behind the scenes, the wheels are already in motion. His team isn't just entertaining the idea, they're actively exploring it, and the interest is growing by the second. Money, legacy, and power, these are the forces driving this seismic shift. But let's talk about the real question on everyone's mind. If Usyk really does fight in MMA, how would he fare? Could the undisputed boxing king actually step into a completely different battlefield and succeed? Let's break it down. First, there's Jake Paul, a name that, whether you love him or hate him, you can't ignore. From YouTuber to one of the most talked about names in combat sports, Paul has done something no one expected. He's made himself a legitimate threat in the ring. He's beaten former UFC champions in boxing. He's gone the distance with fighters who were supposed to finish him, and he just walked away with a unanimous decision win against a legend like Mike Tyson. But here's the catch. Boxing is one thing. MMA is another beast entirely. Paul has flirted with the idea fighting in the cage before, even signing with PFL Professional Fighters League, yet he hasn't taken the leap. But what if Usyk is one who finally forces him into that world? Imagine the shockwaves that would send. A fight between Jake Paul and Usyk in MMA would answer the biggest question surrounding Paul's career. Can he actually fight under full mixed martial arts rules, or is he just a boxer in disguise? If there's one name that should send chills down the spine of any fighter, it's Pereira. A man who has been terrifying in both kickboxing and MMA. Pereira isn't just a knockout artist. He's a precision machine. He's beaten the best in UFC snatched championship gold and left opponents unconscious before they even realized what hit them. He originally wanted to box Usyk, thinking his striking skills could hold up in sweet science. But Usyk, he might be willing to flip the script completely and fight Pereira on Pereira's own turf. That's right, Usyk in MMA against one of the deadliest strikers in UFC history. Think about that for a second. No more just dodging punches. No more just worrying about a knockout blow. MMA Pereira could chop Usyk down with leg kicks, grapple him, clinch him, take him to places where he's never fought before. Could Usyk survive in that world? It all comes down to this. Is Usyk truly that much of a once-in-a-generation talent? We've seen boxers fail when they tried to cross over to MMA before. James Toney, a boxing legend, got humiliated in the UFC. Even Conor McGregor, one of MMA's biggest stars, couldn't take over boxing when he faced Floyd Mayweather. But Usyk isn't just any boxer. His footwork is unmatched. His ability to read opponents is something even world-class fighters can't understand. He dismantled Tyson Fury, a man thought to be untouchable in heavyweight boxing, If anyone could step into MMA and actually compete at a high level, it might be Usyk. And don't think for a second that Dana White isn't paying attention. The UFC president has already been dipping his toes into the boxing world. His recent moves with Turki Al-Sheikh, a major power player in combat sports, prove that Dana wants to break down the barriers between boxing and MMA. If Usyk vs. Pereira actually happens, you can bet Dana will be involved. And if Dana's involved, that means serious money, serious promotion, and a fight that could bring in millions of viewers. Let's not forget what this could mean for the entire landscape of combat sports. If Usyk does this, if he steps into MMA and takes on Paul or Pereira, he's not just making history. He's opening the floodgates. Suddenly, the idea of boxers fighting in MMA isn't just a gimmick anymore. It's real. It's a new era. So here's the big question. What's stopping this from happening? Right now, it all comes down to the negotiations. Money will play a huge role. Contracts, fight promotions, sanctioning bodies, these are the hurdles that need to be cleared. But if the right deal is made, if the right incentives are put in place, Usyk could step into the cage sooner than anyone expects. And when that happens, combat sports will never be the same. So now I'll ask you, do you want to see Usyk fight in MMA? Would you rather see him humble Jake Paul in the cage, proving once and for all that Paul doesn't belong in the same conversation as true world-class fighters? Or would you rather see him take the ultimate risk against Pereira, stepping into one of the most dangerous fights he could ever imagine? Because one thing is clear, Usyk isn't just here to defend his legacy. He's here to redefine it. And if you think this is the end of the story, you're wrong. This is just the beginning.